The hosts feel it would be a little unkind to present this podcast without just a word of friendly warning. We are about to unfold the story of Frankenstein, a man of science who sought to create a man after his own image without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to. Well, we've warned you. Hello, and welcome once again to the Frankencast. I'm the mad scientist, Anthony Bowman. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm joined as always by...
the guy who's just looking for my body, that is Eric Velasquez. My pronouns are also he, him. There you go.
Yeah, so, this is super exciting. Like this, we just found out this Christmas movie coming out. You know, there's not been a good, like, Frankenstein Christmas movie. Last year we kind of did, like, The Nightmare Before Christmas because it was the best option. But now we've got an actual Frankenstein Christmas movie.
Santastein.
Yeah.
Love it.
And so I think I'm gonna, like, this episode will be coming out the 19th. So the movie just came out today. You can stream it out at Screenbox. But yeah, super exciting. It was a little surprise. We kind of had to rearrange the schedule for it, but I was really glad to do it because, it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And Merry Christmas, Anthony, by the way.
Yeah. What a Christmas
or
gift.
Happy Holidays. Either
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you and to everybody listening.
Yeah. Or whatever holiday you celebrate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, obviously this movie is pretty Christmas-centric, but whatever winter holiday you like, I hope you're enjoying it.
Oh, yeah. I could definitely see, a couple other religions and loving this so much.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess with this just coming out today, we can talk like a little bit up front how we feel about it, and then people can decide if they want to jump into the spoilers and stuff.
Yeah.
So what did you think of this?
This is incredibly dumb. It's a little goofy. There are some characters that are just unlikable, but I fucking loved it. It was great.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's like when it comes to movies, like like nowadays with horror, there's always like the so bad it's good kind of stuff and everything. And a lot of times with those kind of movies, it really it all depends on if the people making it believe in what they're doing or if they're just like cashing in on the fact that people will watch bad movies.
Yeah.
Wild Eye does a lot of stuff where it's just like they don't care at all. They just want our money, and those movies don't tend to like really do much for me. This movie, like, it's silly. It knows it's silly, but it's super charming. It's having fun with what it's doing, and yeah, I had a blast with this.
Yeah, it's goofy. It's in its earnestness, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody seems to be having a good time. It's fun. And, for, like, it's more or less a slasher movie just with, like, Franken Santa. Which, by the way, personally, I would have named this movie Franken Santa. I think it has it rolls better than Santastein, but, that's a pretty small nitpick to complain about. Otherwise, yeah, I think this movie's just, it's super fun.
Well, to be fair, they only dropped the name once, right?
Yeah.
Just because they have to, I think there was an obligation.
Right, yeah. But, like, the thing about this, too, is, like, when you have a kind of a ridiculous premise, you really got to commit to it and just, like, go full on, and that's what makes it work. Like, the idea of, like, hey, this is a Frankenstein Santa seems crazy, but once you get into the movie, it's like, no, okay, yeah, I understand, like, this premise works. Like, they've set up a situation where it makes sense that this would have happened, and now we just kind of get to see the chaos that ensues from it, and yeah, it's great.
By the way, the implications of this world are fucking bonkers.
Yes.
Like, because, I mean, we're going to find out pretty early on that, hey, Santa is real. Like,
or was real. Until some kids accidentally killed him, and now the world has plunged into a sad winterless existence where Christmas no longer can happen, and everybody's like a little depressed about it.
I absolutely love the fact that apparently, like, the death of Santa brings climate change. Like, how wild is that?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to be there eventually. Like, we're getting there slowly, sure, but
right.
maybe Santa's, he's currently on life support. Maybe that's what the problem is.
Right, yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, dumb fun. Plain and simple.
Absolutely, yeah. So,
all right, we want to get into this?
Yeah, let's get into it. So, obviously, if you haven't seen this and you want to avoid spoilers, we're gonna get into it now. But it's obviously out now. You can stream it, so you can hear what we have to say first, or go check it out first, whatever works for you. But yeah, we're gonna get into it now.
Absolutely. All right, so obviously another bloody disgusting picture. We love those. We get rain on brutalist architecture.
Yeah, a good classic dark and stormy night. And then we find that this building it's like a hospital, and there's down in the morgue we see a body under a sheet.
That's oddly plump.
A very round belly.
Yeah, yeah, like a bowl full of jelly.
Yeah. And there's like two workers. It's nighttime. There's two workers kind of in like an office next door. It's like the late shift. They're not, they're both like reading the paper, just chilling out, like not really doing much. All of a sudden, there's like a bank of like security camera monitors, and they all start going off into static one by one. Yeah, something fishy's going on. And so one of the guys gets up to go check it out, drops the newspaper he was reading, and we see that the main headline is that there's stolen bodies lately in the area.
A lot of corpses are vanishing.
Yeah, so he goes to check on the disturbance in the cadaver lab, and when he gets in there, the body's still there. Everything seems fine, and then it sits up.
Oh no, we've already got a Frankenstein situation like 5 seconds into this movie, or like about a minute.
Yeah, and it's so like the arms kind of outstretched, kind of Frankenstein style, and of course the guard panics. He starts running.
Right. Well, turns out, guess what? That wasn't a Frankenstein situation. That was a guy hilariously puppeting that body.
Yeah. And so he starts pushing the wheeled gurney, trying to, steal this body. Eventually the guard realizes, wait, why is this zombie thing rolling around on the gurney, and figures out there's a guy pushing it. And he tries.
It's not a guy; it's a kid.
Yeah. They're like getting kind of a tussle, and he realizes like, yeah, this is a kid in a hoodie and like a face mask. But the kid still manages to get away and steal the corpse still.
Yep, and the scene ends with the security guard, who we'll know as Edgar, saying, "We are so dead."
Yeah, and then we see the kid. He's in his car speeding home. He's obviously our like Dr. Frankenstein type character. He's got a little lab set up. That's like a fun kind of makeshift lab where it's like there's some high tech stuff, some just like random junk. It's like a good mix of like what a high school kid could maybe do.
Right.
And
by the way, this is when we get the voiceover on the radio where they're like, "Yeah, so there was a student who's stealing bodies," and then we just get the quick painless snap of, yeah, it's been 12 years since Winter Christmas. Winter at Christmas time.
Yeah. It's like an exposition dump that's so good because it's so obvious, and like they're just leaning into it. They're so depressed about this. Yeah, 12 years without Santa. No one knows where he's gone. There's no Christmas anymore. No presents. Everybody's sad. I feel like if the Coca-Cola sponsored red guy in the red suit disappeared, there would still be Christmas. But whatever. Right. And in the course of the news programming, we're also learned that it's December 24th. So our like scientist kid here is like, okay, tomorrow. It's got to be tomorrow. Yep, that's the day. So then we cut to two kids setting up some traps, some like Home Alone stuff. Yeah. It's like, this is all kind of elaborate. I wrote Home Alone too. It's exactly Home Alone stuff.
Yep.
And then we see the clock strike midnight, and Santa comes rolling down the chimney. And
let's not forget though that we get some foreshadowing with the kid playing guitar or swords with his fire poker.
Oh yes, yeah, very important. Yeah, a kid's playing around with a fire poker, and then so when Santa comes down, the kid kind of sets it over to the side, and they like hide behind a couch or something. And at first, Santa's like walking over to the tree to put up his gifts and everything, and like just completely steps over the traps, just avoids them. He rolled a nat 20 on like rogue, like trap avoidance here.
Nah, Santa's been down this road before. He's had a bunch of kids probably try this.
Yeah. And so he puts the presents, and then he knows the kids are there, and he like turns and talks to him, and he's like, "Hey, you're trying to prove that I exist, but that's no good. Like that's not what that's not what Christmas is about." But
go on, go to bed now.
Yeah, and he's like, "Merry Christmas," and then he takes a step back, and he does bump into the trap, and, falls backwards, and just where the kid, who will learn his name Max, has leaned the poker, it goes straight through Santa's throat.
Yeah, it's pretty grody death for Santa.
Yeah, it's very gory. Last week we had Santa turn into a fruitcake, and we were like, oh, that's pretty rough to do to Santa, but that's nothing compared to this.
I don't know, man. That's the body horror of the fruitcake.
Yeah, I guess they're
both rough.
Yeah. Very existential. This one, at least, it's a quick death.
Right, yeah. More or less. I mean, he does choke on his own blood. So, as quick, I guess, as you can get, maybe.
Yeah. And then we get like a really short clip of the kid out in the backyard, like digging a hole.
Like it was his pet. He buries Santa like it was his pet.
Yeah. And then that just kind of like we sort of like dissolve to present day. We now see the kid has grown up. He's like a high school student. This is our kid from the beginning, obviously. And he's like standing in a mirror, like kind of like hyping himself up. We see next to him on the table, there's a jar, brain in it, classic Frankenstein stuff, and it's labeled Santa's brain.
Santa's brain. No, he took out the brain. How's he been preserving it so well for so long? 12 years.
Yeah,
That's
12. Yeah.
That thing should be growing something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fungus.
Yeah. I mean, or like the formaldehyde. Like even if you did the preservative stuff, I don't think it would be usable as a viable brain.
Maybe that's the problem. He had it preserved for too long.
Yeah.
Cut to a girl waking up at her science lab table. Apparently, all these kids are into science.
Yeah, very, very sciencey. She's got like more of like a chemistry style set. A lot of beakers with colored liquids and stuff in them. And she like runs downstairs, and her parents are there, and they're like super depressed, like zombie like.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's so
right. We hope you have fun at the party. I hope it gives you joy that we can't give you anymore. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's like it's so sad.
Or the joy we can no longer provide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just miserable, and
I mean, you don't have to be miserable, guys. You could still give your child joy.
Right. Yeah, it's. I mean, like they're just leaning into this like world without Santa. It just ruins everything, and it's just
so miserable.
It's fun. She runs outside, and there's Max, and they walk to school together, and they're talking about like how weird her parents were being, and like, hey, you remember Christmas? Like we, when we were kids, we still had it for a little bit. I remember we got out of school. That was pretty nice, but like I don't really remember much of the specifics. We were too young.
Yeah, just committed murder on Santa Claus. That's all.
Yeah. And they're also excited because today's like the science fair, and they've worked together on this presentation. And we kind of find it like, we could tell basically from their lab setups that like, she's the chemistry person, he's the biology person, and they've worked together on some kind of project using, their skills.
Right. Obviously resurrection of some type. In this case, it's rat resurrection.
Yeah, and they're kind of poking fun at each other, and she's like, "Are you sure this is going to work?" And he's like, "If your biology's accurate, then it's going to work." And she's like, "My biology's always accurate."
Yeah. Hey.
Then we cut to school where the science fair is going on, and the first project is so great.
Dude, this is a conspiracy theory about Big Coal infiltrating Christmas.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's like, it sounds like the CIA killed Kennedy kind of thing. But yeah, that Big Coal killed, or that that Big Coal was part of it. Santa, was like this money, raiser for them because he gave away coal and everything. It's just crazy nonsense. But yeah, it feels so accurate to like how the world is now, where people just have these stupidest conspiracy theories and just like dig into them so hard.
Man, I'm telling you, have you listened to Knowledge Fight? Have you listened to that?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, well, I don't want to hype up another podcast on ours, but take some time, because it will surprise you how stupid this world is.
So they just look at different conspiracy theories?
It's literally based on Alex Jones' InfoWars. It's a play on that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just so stupid. Like, you can't believe how dumb he is as a person.
Oh, yeah.
Just so stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's fascinating and like incredibly frustrating to listen to.
Yes. I watch or listen to a lot of stuff like that, and this is the first time I'm like, man, I'm so depressed. I'm actually depressed. All right, so let's talk about the fun stuff. So Max and Paige, as we'll come to know the girl, they get on with their project, and turns out it's a rat with some massive testicles that they zoom in on.
And obviously, yeah, they're gonna reanimate and they throw the switch. They've got like a kitchen mixer that's kind of like acting as like the spinning science wheel. Like lights kind of flicker. There's smoke, billowing off of the rat, and it's like, oh, this isn't gonna work. This thing's gonna catch on fire before it revives.
Right. Another point of reference: the teacher is really obsessed with these kids cussing in his class.
Yeah.
But he's not worried about Pete with a fucking knife eating an apple like an old Appalachian hillbilly. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, like all the kids, they're just dicks. There's kids are just cursing and picking on each other and stuff. But then, once the cloud of smoke dissipates, the rat is awake. It's fine. And after the teacher's been chastising the students for cursing, he's just like, what the fuck?
What the fuck? That's a good bit, though, right?
Yeah.
That's a good bit.
And, like, it's good because, like, I feel like a lot of times we either have teachers that are incompetent or they're, like, jerks. This teacher seems kind of, like, feels a little real. Like, it's like he's not the best, but he also is trying his best,
Yeah.
Because he's like, wait, what do I don't even know what, do we call, like, the science board? Who do we tell you just revived a dead rat?
Right. Exactly. Well, he's like, all right, immediate A for you, kids.
Yeah.
But also, I like how the other kids are immediately skeptical. They're like, did you have another rat under there? It's like, guys, you just saw this fucking happen. Mm-hmm. Like, there was smoke, but you saw it. The teacher knows.
Yeah. Then class kind of lets out, and we've got Max and Paige. They're in the hallway. They're all like, did you see it? Like, oh my God, we actually did it. It worked. And then a bully, like, bumps into Max and knocks him down. These are just, like, central casting bullies.
As soon as they step out, though, Paige's friend Michaela tries to get her to go put up flyers for the party around the school. And Paige is like, no, I want to hang out with Max. And Michaela is like the mom friend, that one that kind of leads the group a little bit. Mm-hmm. But probably shouldn't. Let's be honest.
It's really strange. So, like, do Paige and Michaela live in the same house? It like, at certain points...
No, we'll talk about that. Because fuck Michaela for that.
So Michaela is throwing a party in Paige's house, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That was what was really throwing me off, because like we established it was Paige's house because her parents were like, have fun, we're going to be gone, you can throw your party here. But it mostly seems like this is Michaela's party.
Yeah, it is. It's literally for no other purpose than to get Michaela in with the cool kids. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I hate Michaela. I know Michaela.
Yeah.
Not the actual actress, but I know of a person who is very much like Michaela.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's, it's such a thing, like, to just be, like, obsessed with, like, I need to be popular. I need to do this thing, and I'm going to do whatever it takes, and, forsake my actual friend. I mean, of course, I think this really happens, but it certainly happens a lot in, like, high school movies. Yeah, I mean, like, Michaela she's the nerdiest of these, like, nerd friends, and so she's the most, like, obsessed with, like, being cool.
Right. It's like, that's the problem. You don't try to be cool, you just are, or you're not. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, so as Max and Paige are walking around, like, this bully just, like, tackles Max. We have, like, a group of, like, 3 or 4 bullies, and, like, there's, like, one, the one girl bully, because you gotta have at least one. And she's like,
it's Pete, Austin, and Katie.
Yeah. And Katie to Austin, she's like, you're so hot when you bully.
Right.
Like, usually
that was good.
Bullies don't, like, actually acknowledge that they are bullies. So it just was so good. Like, everybody, this movie's not super campy, but it is just slightly hyper real. It's just a little weirder than reality. And yeah, it makes for a lot of fun.
Right. And we get a wonderful exchange where it is revealed basically at this point Michaela is a pick-me for the bullies.
Yeah, and the bully, like, I think they knock a notebook out of Max's hands and flip through it, and of course it's it's his Santastein notebook. It's got all of his, like, notes for this plan to revive Santa.
They seem like they're into it, but they also call him a psychopath.
But Paige manages to, like, pull it out of their hands. And they're like, oh, you got to get a girl to fight for you, Max. What a wimp or whatever. Yeah, but then Katie knocks the rat cage out of Paige's hands, and the rat escapes. And I was thinking, like, okay, things are about to get crazy. This rat's going to, like, be rabid and, like, attack people and be, like, this super monster rat. But that actually,
not yet. Maybe later.
But of course, Max and Paige do want to recover the rat. It's their big scientific success, so they chase after, and Michaela continues to kind of, like, be try to ingratiate herself with the bullies.
Well, Katie even says, don't invite the chess club losers, invite the hot bullies. Quite literally.
Yeah, like, she keeps trying to invite them to the party, and at first they're like, no, and then they find out there's not going to be parents there, and they're like, ooh, interesting. Yeah, we can help you make this party cool, but we got to make it exclusive. And Michaela's like, whatever you say. Like, I just want to be cool so bad. I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah, these kids aren't cool though. They're quite the opposite.
Yeah, they're awful. Like, yeah, I'm sure there are popular kids in the school, but for whatever reason, Michaela really thinks the bullies is where it's at.
Yeah, I don't know. Usually the popular kids are popular because they're either decent or just good at stuff, right? Mm-hmm. They have a redeeming quality.
Yeah.
They're not just assholes.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then
Paige and Max catch that rat.
Yeah, they catch up with it, and Max is immediately like, I wonder if this would work on something
let's go bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, and, Paige is like, that's not a good idea. Like, we still got to do a lot of testing before that's even remotely on the radar.
Right.
And he's like, well, I got work to do. I'm going to go home. And she's like, we've got the party tonight. Why don't you come to the party? We already made this achievement. We can take a break. We can relax a little bit.
Yeah, but hey, who's that guy who looks very familiar from the beginning of the movie that's walking down the hall asking about the corpse?
Yeah. So we've got our one security guard from the morgue,
Edgar,
yeah. And so he's he obviously knows a kid had something to do with it, so he's like trying to figure out if he can find a clue, figure out what's going on.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing though that he narrows it down to one school in particular.
Yeah,
so quickly.
Yeah. And so then we cut to a liquor store where the bully crew have dragged Michaela, and they're trying to get her to buy them a bunch of alcohol. specifically more expensive alcohol. They're like, well, the thing is, when people get drunk, their taste gets more refined, and they need better alcohol, which is like the opposite of true.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also, she tries to buy rubbing alcohol because she's like, this is 99% alcohol. It sure is. I wouldn't drink that, though.
No, not a good plan.
No.
So clearly she knows nothing and is going to just be swindled by whatever they tell her.
Yeah.
They like fill up, give her all this stuff that they want. And then,
they dish it on her. They're like, you'll buy this, right? Bye.
Yeah, they're like, we're underage. They won't, but you look super mature. They'll totally just sell it to you. And so they leave, and Michaela goes to the clerk, and the clerk seems super young too. Like, she doesn't seem, she must be like 21 or something. She obviously asks for ID. Michaela doesn't have it. And Michaela's like, look, like, just please, like, I need this. Like, this is my chance to be cool. Like, I have to buy this stuff. I
love the cut of this cashier's jib, because she immediately was like, $200. Yeah. You give me $200, I'll let you buy this booze.
Yeah, and Michaela is like, okay, fine. Like, she doesn't have a choice, so she pays, leaves, and then I think, is it Austin that goes back in? And
she gives Austin a kickback.
Yeah. So like, Austin they're friends with this girl. And they've completely orchestrated this situation just to get the good booze and to pay off their friend. And it was all, it was all planned out.
But apparently she drops the line that, hey, Michaela really likes you. And he's just like, ugh, gross.
Yeah.
But hey, you could come to the party.
Yeah. So then we go to Paige's house where Michaela has arrived. They're kind of discussing the party. Like you said, Michaela's being like the party mom. Like, everything's got to be perfect. She's obsessed. Paige is just like, why are you so hung up on all this? And she's like, it's all about status. I gotta look good here at the party. This is my in to get in with the.
I mean, I get it when you're in high school, like, everything's so important. But man, I would never have thought this was important.
Yeah.
Like, it's so bizarre trying to impress people like that much,
Yeah, I mean, like, the whole point of a party is like to have fun with people you like to be around, not use it as
people
like
you hate.
Exactly. Yeah. And like you said, I get it. Like, things when you're in high school, everything seems super important, and your priorities are obviously different. But yeah, it's sad to see, like, Michaela has this good friend in Paige who's like helping her do this thing that Paige doesn't even care about. But instead, Michaela is just so obsessed with these bullies who are clearly not interested in being her friend at all. And like, if she
Paige even calls it out. She's like, you only do their homework. They don't know who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, these are things Michaela's got to learn for herself, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's true. Well, anyway, Max is welding Santa Claus back together.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
Putting the parts together, getting everything, obviously he said it's got to be tonight. And then we cut to the police station where Edgar is now talking to the police, begging for their help. He's like, this body was stolen. My boss is going to kill me. Like,
That now the cop is actually interested because he's like, all right, we got a premeditated murder. All right, how do you think it's going to happen? What? Yeah. It's a metaphor, man.
Yeah. The cops in this are just like so delightfully stupid. I just really love some incompetent cops in movies. It's always fun.
This has a vein of Trauma in it.
It kind of does, yeah.
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 Like, what was it? We were talking about the, it wasn't Reanimator. What was the Trauma, Herbert West?
Oh, Reagitator.
Reagitator. Yeah, with Lloyd Kaufman, the lead guy of Trauma, just getting high on coke and just shooting his gun in the air.
Yeah. Like, there's a thing with these kind of movies where it feels like a bunch of like a ragtag band of friends like getting together to put on a play. Like they're like, we're gonna do this no matter what it takes, and this definitely has a similar kind of heart to it. But yeah, so once Edgar's like, no, I'm not actually going to be murdered, but like there has been a crime. I need your help to find this body. They're not interested in that.
But I do like how like the chief, he's like, I got to speak to the chief. And the chief comes in and he's like, all right, here's what I'm thinking. I know it's a kid. I think I saw him today at the school. And the chief is immediately like, get this man a merit badge. We're going to make him an honorary cop. He's even better than everybody else here.
Yeah. And then we go to the party that's already kind of kicked off. The bullies all arrive, and everything's, it's a party that a nerd has thrown. It's like there's no loud music, people aren't dancing. There's like people playing chess in the corner. There's just like nerds sitting around.
I mean that's a great party in my opinion.
yeah, but it's not the party that the bullies want.
No, not at all.
And Michaela's like, she's got games planned. There's activities. She's got a schedule. Party mom, like not a cool person, but like a good friend if she was having a party for her friends.
I will say if you have an itinerary for your party, it's already kind of lame.
yeah, that's never gonna work out. Like it's just you gotta let things kind of happen organically.
Yeah. But of course the bullies are still annoyed that there's no booze. We bought so much booze. Where is it? Where's the booze gone?
And Michaela's like, well, it's not time yet. We're still in the middle. We've got activities. We don't want to, get too loose. But I made some really great eggnog. I'll bring it out here in a little bit. And they're like, wait, you used all of our good booze to make shitty eggnog?
Yeah.
Yeah. So very disappointed. Michaela goes upstairs. Paige is, just in her room, like not really participating in the party. And they kind of get in an argument. Like she's like, what are you doing?
Paige isn't wearing the outfit that Michaela picked out for her, which... That's a little weird, but okay.
Yeah, they're like fancy like elf costumes, kind of like it's not a costume, but it's like a Christmas party dress, but like not what a high school person would wear, like a mom.
Yeah, on Tuesday we dress as elves, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so Paige and Michaela, they kind of argue. Paige is like, you got what you want, like do your thing, but like this isn't for me. Like you're doing this for the people downstairs, and I don't really care. I'm not really interested.
Yeah, and I believe at this time, that's when the rat decides to get a little aggressive and throws his own cage on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Paige kind of like, looks at like, that's not a good sign.
No.
And we cut straight from that to the lab where Max is getting ready to revive his creation. He puts on his mad scientist goggles.
He has a reminder to use 1,000 volts.
Yeah. And, he's like trying to lift the body up through the ceiling. A pulley snaps because it's just what he's made himself. It's not like a real legit science lab.
Right, we almost get the Rube Goldberg death of Max already as the body and the slab almost fall on him.
Yeah, but he manages to kind of get things back in order and does lift the body up high, hits a button, lightning strikes, hits the corpse.
Knocks out all the power.
Yeah, knocks the power out in Max's house and also the whole neighborhood, including Paige's house where the party is going. So that's not good.
Yeah. Michaela runs around telling her, don't panic, don't panic.
Mm-hmm. But also, Paige was still upstairs in her room and happens to be looking out the window when the lightning strikes Max's house. And she's like, what's something's going on over there.
Here we go again.
Yeah, so she runs out to go see Max. Meanwhile, with Max, we get the moment that we get so many times where it takes a little longer for the creature to wake up than the scientist expects. So he's like, okay, I guess it didn't work. My project failed. What am I doing? I'm insane. Like, I am trying to revive a corpse here. That I'm a crazy person.
Right.
But while he's
at least he had that moment of rationality.
Yeah. Usually, we don't get that from Victor until the monster wakes up and he's upset about it. But of course, while he's having this sort of like, monologue, the creature does sit up behind him. Max is like, it actually worked. And he doesn't say it's alive, surprisingly, because it just feels like...
missed opportunity.
Yeah, it feels like this movie would have leaned into that one.
But the corpse of Santa gets to work and like starts working on some presents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he immediately like pulls out a toy and like hands it to Max. And Max is like, yep, you're right. You're Santa. This is what you do. And then like he yells like victoriously, like, I can't believe I did it. I've saved Christmas. I brought Santa back.
Yeah, nothing bad could happen from this. So anyway, Paige arrives and goes into the attic.
Yeah, she's like walking through the house. It's dark. We keep expecting like, she's gonna find something. It's leaning into like we're gonna get a jump scare here shortly. Of course, she gets to Max's lab, sees like his notes everywhere. He's got like the traditional like
board.
With all like cork, like the yarn and the tacks and everything. And suddenly,
but it's literally with clippings of all the body snatching.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and some there's also some stuff about Christmas being over or whatever. So it's pretty clear what's going on here. And then she turns, and Santa pops up. Jump scare.
Santa scare.
And then Max shows up and is like, "It's okay, Santa. Like, this is my friend Paige. She's good. She's on our side, basically."
Right. But Paige is not good. She's not handling this well.
Yeah. Max is super excited, and he's like, "Look what I did!" And she's like, "Yeah, but I told you we need to wait. Like, the rat is at my house, and it's getting aggressive and dangerous. Like, I think things are going to get increasingly unstable, and now you've made this giant man. That's way worse."
Oh.
But while
where'd Santa go?
Yeah, while they're arguing, he just slips out. Mm-hmm. That's not good. And then we immediately cut to just a classic slasher, like, killer eye view.
This is right out of Black Christmas, like the 1970s.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're like looking in the window of Michaela's party, shaky cam. Obviously this is Santa. We're seeing little bits of the party, and we see that Katie, the girl bully, is annoyed with how the party is going. She's talking.
Well, Pete has decided to play chess with the chess club.
Yeah, and that really annoys her. And she's like, "We have this opportunity. There's no parents. Like, we need to make this party good." And he's like, "It's fine. It's whatever." And she's like, "No, I got an idea." So she goes to Michaela and is like, "Hey, why don't we get out of here for a little bit? Let's take a walk. Let's just have some girl time. We're friends, right? We should hang out." And Michaela just accepts this hook, line, and sinker. Is just like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." And so they get close to the back door, and Katie just shoves Michaela out, slams the door, locks it.
Her out of her own party.
Yep.
Brutal.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yep, and immediately they're like, "Everyone, get in here now!"
Yeah, it almost. I'm not sure. Were they like hiding in a garage, or did she just open the front door and they were all in the yard?
They just come in through the front door.
Yeah,
and Katie let Michaela out the side.
Yeah, and just like a mob of kids come swarming into the house, and it instantly turns into like a cool party. Now that we've got music and booze and all the popular kids and everything Michaela wanted as soon as we got rid of her.
Right, and booze flowing freely now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Michaela's out back, and it's like, French doors or sliding doors or whatever. Like, so Michaela is seeing this through the glass, seeing her dream party happening. And obviously it's pretty upset. She's sad. She decides to go for a walk on her own. And as she's like walking around, we get some like horror trope stuff. There's like little noises here and there. And she's like, "Hey, who's there? This isn't funny." And eventually we see, like, she sits down on like a lounge chair next to the swimming pool, and then we see Santa behind her. She doesn't know he's there.
Already? Damn, that's quick.
Yeah. He like knocks her into the swimming pool and like holds her head underwater.
Right. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, he's moving fast, right?
Yeah.
Hey, he doesn't sound like Santa though. He sounds an awful lot like Austin.
Yeah. Yeah, Michaela pops out of the water, and it's Austin laughing in a Santa suit.
Yeah, that's really funny. Mocking or acting like you're going to drown somebody.
Yeah, and he's laughing, and she's like, "Why are you acting like this? I thought you liked me." And Austin's like, "Michaela, nobody likes you. I don't know how you got confused about that. No, we do not like you."
Right.
Which is, that's brutal. Like.
But it's honest.
Yeah, it is true. And if she's, I feel like she needs to accept that these are not the people for her, and that she needs to find people who do like her,
like Paige.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, we cut from that to a little girl walking down the street, and she bumps into our actual Santa, who is covered in blood.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
already covered in blood.
And he has like a little package that he hands to her, and she's like, "Oh, thank you, Santa." And she
better not be a dick in a box.
It's almost that bad. She opens it up, and there's a bloody hand.
Yeah.
So obviously this is upsetting to a child, and she screams. But before she can run away, Santa grabs her and presumably kills her.
He just windmill slams down on her head. Well, it looks like the sound is what sets him off.
Mm-hmm, like the scream.
She screams at real high pitched. Yeah.
Yeah, because it seemed like earlier also when Max like yells, that's when like Santa got like like nervous
Cringe.
or surprised or kind of like, he's, I mean, which, that's, we see this with Frankenstein monsters often, like things that are like overstimulating, like they're upsetting because he's not quite figured out the world around him.
I feel that.
Yeah, for real. So we cut away from Santa to a cop. He's like driving along. He's on a walkie-talkie, or on like the radio, talking, not paying attention, and then he hits Santa. So Santa didn't get out of the road after killing the little girl. This all happens in a couple seconds, I guess. And so of course the cop actually stops and gets out to see what he has done. Check on Santa.
Paige and Max see him get hit.
Mm-hmm. And they're like hiding from in the bushes, and they're like, "What do we do?" And then they see that the cop drags Santa into the car and drives away, and they're like, "Shit! I guess we gotta go to the police station. Like, we gotta figure out what happened here."
Well, it apparently is not the first time this officer has hit and killed someone.
Yeah, like we cut to him like dragging the body into the police station, and he's like, "Chief, I hit a guy."
Not again.
Yeah, great. So they like drag him over and like sit him up, kind of like drunk tank style, sit him on like a bench, and he's kind of like slumped over. One of the other police like looks over and he's like, "Oh, that's not a person. That's just a drunk. That's fine.
Right.
Nothing to be worried about."
Yeah, he's like, it's fine. They're just drunks.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the one who actually hit him is like, "Hey man, will you take my picture? I want to post this on MySpace."
Right. Well, that is not great to have flashing lights around this Santa Claus, because he goes fucking off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he immediately just starts like attacking. He
breaks the cop who hit his neck with like a twist.
And this scene, it's like it's like a hyper realistic, like violent fight scene with like a smooth jazzy Christmas song playing in the background. It's so good. Just really good stuff. So he kills the one other cop by I think just punching him, and then he drives his hand like he's choking the chief, and the chief's like, "You ain't got the guts," and Santa reaches into his guts and starts pulling him out. Mm-hmm. Yep. And so then I think Santa just strolls out after that.
Well, no, he walks up to Edgar, who's cowering, and he's like, "Nice."
Oh, right,
like he's declaring him nice.
Yeah, so he's determined all the cops are naughty because Santa knows cab.
A-cab, yep.
So after Santa leaves, Edgar goes over to the chief, who is still alive but dying, and he's like, basically like, "I deputize you. You got to go out there and kill that bastard." You're
right, but this is like one of the longest death scenes, like comedically so. Like he should have been dead a minute ago, but he's like, "You're the best of us, Edgar."
Yeah, you're the only hope this town has now. You're all that's left. And Edgar takes it very seriously. He's it's like Paul Blart kind of thing where he's like, I've been a security guard and now I'm a real cop and I'm gonna save the day.
There you go. he like does the suit up montage. He gets the bulletproof vest. He gets like 2 flashlights. He gets the gun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's all excited. And then outside we see that Max and Paige have arrived at the station right as Santa is walking out, completely covered in blood. And Max is like, "Hey, Santa, I don't know what happened, but you got to calm down. Everything's okay. We're gonna figure it out. Everything will be all right." But then Edgar comes rushing out, pulls his gun, shoots Santa several times, which obviously has no effect other than making Santa very mad.
Right. And getting shot a couple times by some hot stinging lead, that'll make you want to run off, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Santa kind of takes off, and Max is like, "All right, Paige, we gotta follow him. Like, I think we can really help. Like, we can convince him that he's Santa. Clear all this up. But we gotta help."
Well, Paige has a better idea. Instead of just going right after Santa, She's like, I know someone who can really help us out.
Yeah, so, Paige is kind of skeptical in this idea in general, but she's like, okay, we'll split up. I'm gonna go find real help, and we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then immediately Edgar just runs up on Max. He's like, hey, did you see where Santa... You're the kid!
Yeah.
You're the one!
Yeah, you're the kid that stole the body. He instantly just... Max hits him and tries to run, but Edgar catches up to him and knocks him down and, cuffs him. And he's like, I don't know what kind of necro shit you pulled, but you're going to help me stop this killer.
Right, and Max is like, man, I'm going to go tell the cops. And he's like, I'm the only cop left in this town.
Right.
80s action line right there.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we get another bit at the party where it looks like the killer Santa is there, but nope, it's just Austin again. They're really milking that extra Santa suit for some good jump scares.
Well, it'll come back later too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. But Katie gets jealous of Pete talking to another girl named Patricia, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And so she decides to send him out to go get more booze because they were waiting on Diego, right?
Yeah, they're waiting on Diego and the girl from the liquor store to bring more booze.
Mm-hmm. So Pete goes instead. Meanwhile, at the liquor store, the clerk girl can't close up because she's lost the keys. So she's on the phone with her boss, and she's like, "No, I can't stay the night. I'm not gonna stay here."
Right, and guard your liquor store.
Yeah. I've got plans. I got stuff to do. But then she starts hearing commotion elsewhere in the store, and she starts, "We're closed. Hey, you got to get out of here. We're not open." It seems like, oh shit, there's an intruder in the store.
And we know who's on the loose tonight.
Yeah. But she finally, gets there, and it's Diego.
Yay! Jump scare from the boyfriend.
Yeah. And not only
he has those spare keys.
Yeah, he's got the keys, so everything's great. Now they can actually close up.
Yep.
But, first, of course, they while the clerk was walking around, she was scared, and she had her phone, the classic thing where you hit 911, but you don't hit send, and you're just waiting.
Right.
But so her and Diego start making out. She drops the phone, and it makes the call.
Oh, well, it's good that we have at least one cop left because Edgar picks it up and, he's about to hang up because he hears two kids making out.
Mm-hmm.
But he hears something strange. Something goes, naughty.
Yeah.
No!
Yeah. And so then we see, Diego is like, I'll be right back, and he goes into the back room of the liquor store to find condoms.
She wants him to go look for protection.
Mm-hmm. But instead of condoms, he finds a copy of Slayboy.
Slayboy.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, so he starts flipping through it. Is very interested in the centerfold. He takes a selfie of himself with the magazine. And it's so good though. So when he does the camera flashes and we see that Killer Santa is right over his shoulder. You just see him in the camera flash, but nothing. Santa doesn't get him. Meanwhile, the girlfriend finds Diego and
jerking it to Mrs. Claus.
Yeah, yeah, and she's pissed. She's like, "What the fuck, Diego?" And they start arguing. He's like, "But I was getting ready for you. She means nothing to me. I was thinking about you the whole time."
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You sure were, Diego. Well, they don't have too much time to think about that because Santa just runs up and shanks the shit out of the cashier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she falls. Diego goes running. Santa chases after him. At this point, Pete has arrived to the store to pick up booze. So we've got Santa chasing Diego around, and Pete manages to come in, and he's like, "Hey guys, where is everybody?" Doesn't hear or see anything, just grabs a couple bottles of booze and just leaves with them.
Well, yeah, he also sees a yellow flower, and he's like, "Oh, that's cool," because Diego brought it for the cashier. But, all right, so this is actually, I think this is a really cool fucking shot, where we have the split shot of Diego getting murdered by Santa Claus, and Pete getting the booze out of the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, I see you.
Yeah. This whole scene was, it's all really carefully orchestrated so that Pete doesn't bump into Diego and Santa, but yeah, there's the killing going on and the oblivious friend stealing alcohol. Yeah, it's like when slashers manage to do these kind of things, like, you know, the main thing with a slasher is moving the puzzle pieces around so that no one knows about the killings until it's too late and everything.
The final circuit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like at the end where they run through the house and everybody's body falls out.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And when you can do it here, like in this kind of situation where like the people are close to each other and still don't know, that's just so good.
Yeah. So what's Paige doing right about now?
Yeah, so Paige is talking to her grandma, and I think we kind of skipped over, like, the opening credits are pretty, like, they were real quick, but we get, like a little voiceover of a grandma reading, like, a Christmas, like, nursery rhyme kind of thing to kids, and so this is that grandma, and, you know, so Paige is telling her grandma everything that's happened with this, like, revived Santa or whatever.
Right, and Grandma's reading apparently a passage from that book about how it's a bad idea to resurrect Santa. How many times has this happened?
Yeah. This is a very specific nursery rhyme about like all of the consequences if you Frankenstein a Santa Claus. It even says stuff about stitch together and reanimate. Like it's it's either a very specific thing that has somehow already happened, or it's like a prophecy, basically. But yeah, right. Either way, like she's kind of, she's like scary German guy from the Monster Squad. Like she's got all of this valuable knowledge.
This would have affected the Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for
Could
sure.
you imagine that? Yeah.
But yeah, so Grandma's super helpful. She gives her all this information. Cut away to Edgar arriving at the liquor store. He's got Max cuffed and in the back of the police cruiser, and he's like, "You stay here." And Max is like, "I thought you wanted me to help you with this. How can I help? I'm chained up in the back of the car." And Edgar's not listening. He goes inside. He finds a flyer for Michaela's party. Then we cut back to Grandma and Paige, and Grandma's like, "You created a monster.
If it strikes midnight on Christmas, he'll become more powerful and more resentful than ever, realizing that he's lost what he once was," or something like that.
Yeah. And Paige is mad. She's like, this is terrible. Like, Max did this, and now I'm paying the consequences, and he stole my work. Like, he had to use stuff that I figured out to do this, and he didn't ask my permission.
I love that Grandma's, she's very permissive for Max, though. She's like, "I'm sure he meant well." Yeah,
Yeah, he made some mistakes, but, like, he was trying to do a good thing, and it just didn't work out, and he needs your help now. You really have to step up and do something to save the day. And Paige is like,
here's this cookie. I'm going to go contemplate the weird shit you just told me.
Yeah.
Have fun, kiddo.
Yeah, and Paige is like, "What? So how do I?" And she's like, "You're the brainiac. I'm just a granny. You figure out what to do. I'm just saying you got to do something. I'm not telling you what it is." And then Paige has an idea, and we get this great montage of Paige doing science stuff, Grandma doing baking stuff, and them teaming up together to create nitroglycerin cookies to give to Santa.
Okay, I know what the fuck those are. I'm a fat bastard, so I know those are Little Debbie snack cake Christmas trees.
Yeah.
They bought them at the fucking store. I know it.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. It's like they're baking these as cookies, but they're not cookies. They're like those snack cakes.
Yeah. But I do love how at the very end, one of them just goes poof, and Grandma's like, "We better wait a while."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then we cut back to Diego arriving back at the party.
Well, no. Diego's gone, man.
Oh, right. Yeah, Diego's dead. Pete's getting back to the party.
Yeah. As the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies plays.
Mm-hmm. And he gets out of his car and, like, drops his keys. And then as he, like, bends down to pick them up, when he stands back up, like the camera goes down with him. And when he stands back up, the hood of the car, comes back into frame, and there's a gift there that wasn't there a minute ago.
Yeah. I love how this fucking gift lights up like the fucking suitcase from Pulp Fiction, and he pulls out a fucking apple bomb.
Yeah, he's so excited about it. Instantly starts smoking weed.
This guy loves apples. Yeah, and once he takes a puff, like the snowfall increases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if that's just like a Christmas coincidence, or if like he's like hallucinating more snow or what.
This came from Santa Claus, dude. That shit's magic. Okay.
Right. And so as soon as it gets all snowy and cold and he's high and stupid, he immediately just goes to like lick a pole, which
I'm gonna be honest. I have never had the fucking urge to lick a frozen fucking pole.
And, like, that's like the classic scene from A Christmas Story, but in there, like, the kids know it's a bad thing to do, and they do it because it's a dare. Here, there's no one around. He just
does it because he's a dumbass.
Yeah, no one's daring him. He just, by himself, decides to do it, and, of course, gets stuck, because, of course, he is.
I wonder if this is setting up something else.
Yeah, Santa pops up behind him, grabs his head, and pulls, and the tongue stays. So he rips his tongue off, and if that's like
pours eggnog down his throat.
just drenches him in eggnog, and then eventually takes the apple bong and shoves it in his mouth like he's gonna like roast him like a pig.
Yeah. Katie comes out, gets into the car.
Yeah, and she sees Pete sitting in the car, in the driver's seat, and it's like the camera's like doing the thing where like Katie's in focus and Pete's not, and she's just kind of talking to him. Yeah, she's, like, okay, like we've got a few minutes. Okay, yeah, we can make out, but you better do that thing with your tongue that I like. And then she grabs
his... can't do that anymore.
Yeah, she grabs him and, of course, sees that he is dead and that his lower jaw is all ripped out and he's got the apple shoved in his mouth and everything.
Right, apple shoved in his mouth.
She jumps out of the car and starts screaming and instantly bumps into Edgar, who has managed to, use the flyer to follow back to the party, and she immediately just throws up on him.
Right in his face.
Yeah.
Then she loses her shit and runs off and presumably gets caught by Santa immediately.
Yeah. So meanwhile, Edgar rushes into the party and, tries to shut it down and get everybody to leave, and he's yelling, and no one is paying any attention to him at all.
Meanwhile, Michaela sneaks into the second floor. And she has a moment where she finally realizes, like, she looks into the mirror and she's like, oh, you're such a pushover. This is why nobody likes you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, understand.
Yeah, she even, yells, like, I hate you to herself. Yeah, I mean...
But, by the way, has she really been a pushover? I mean, yeah, she's like a lickspittle and a bootlicker. But is she really a pushover?
Yeah, I mean, the bullies have definitely, made her buy the booze and everything, but, it's not... A pushover is someone who does things they don't want to do. She's doing these things because she thinks it's going to accomplish something. Like, it's not like she's being forced into doing stuff.
She's a lackey for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, and plus she was trying to boss around Paige.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's weird, but okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is the moment where we get a little bit of empathy for Michaela. She doesn't feel great about herself, obviously. And,
But she can grow from that.
Yeah, hopefully this moment, this sort of, high school type rock bottom will, teach her to appreciate the people who do care about her, and then she will, start to love herself as well. But,
Well, she does catch a W. Pretty soon afterwards, because she catches Austin in bed with another dude.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I'm going to tell everybody about that.
Yeah, this worked for me. I think there's, some homophobia kind of stuff here, but, it feels directed in the right way. This is a bully who is self-hating gay and who doesn't want to be outed. It feels kind of earned here. It doesn't feel like the movie's not homophobic. The movie is pointing at these idiot kids and the way that they are.
It's not the fact that he's gay that she's getting him. He's a liar, basically.
Mm-hmm. The fact that he doesn't want people to know he's gay. Which, you shouldn't out people even if they suck, but in this case, it's a movie. I feel like you feel pretty vindicated for Michaela getting this bit of knowledge.
Yeah, and besides, Austin's going to get a hero moment here in a bit, so it's fine.
Yeah.
No, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, she goes running downstairs to the party. Austin's chasing after her. Edgar sees Austin in the Santa suit and thinks it's Santa, and just starts firing wildly into a crowd of teenagers.
Obviously, this is a shorter Santa, but sure, why not?
So, Edgar's got some cop instincts for sure.
Right. Yeah.
And so he starts, chasing after Austin. Max is in the back of the police car still out front, trying to escape. He manages to get the car rolling somehow, and
right, and he busts the door off.
The door gets caught on something and ripped off, and he's handcuffed to the door handle. So he's now free of the car, but he has a car door chained to his wrist.
Right. It's really odd that's kind of like sled shaped a little bit.
Right. It's perfect. So we don't get that. So we cut back to the party where now Austin is hiding in a bedroom, trying to get away from being chased by Edgar.
Right, when Katie swings into the window.
Mm-hmm. And she is hanging from Christmas lights, and he manages to pull her in.
That's kind of cool though.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really seen that.
Yeah, it's really it's lights around her neck, like she's about to strangle. But yeah, he manages to get her inside. She's okay.
Yeah, but Santa keeps trying to pull her back out.
Mm-hmm. And then we go back to Max, who manages to, like you were implying, he manages to turn the door into a sled and is able to sled towards the party on the car door.
Yeah, because ice is on the road or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And then we go back where Santa continues pulling on the lights until he decapitates Katie.
Yeah, but man, that head, that was the worst head. That was literally a plastic mannequin head.
Yeah.
Not even with a wig. All plastic.
Yeah, it bounces several times. Of course, Austin is really upset by this. Meanwhile, I think Edgar bursts into the room at that point and sees again this Santa suited person and a decapitated body. And I think then we cut away to the real Santa, who has cornered Michaela in the hallway and says,
naughty.
Yeah, and Michaela's like, no, I'm good. I'm not naughty. I'm good. But clearly,
she's not good though.
No, yeah, all of her behavior lately has been very naughty, and Santa's not happy. So he wraps her up in Christmas wrapping paper, and then before we see what happens there, we cut to outside the party where Paige has now found Max, and he is he's outside the party but still chained to the door.
Right. He's like, let me go. Help me get out of here. And she's like, nah, I'm good. You need to stay right here, Max.
Yeah, you've messed things up enough. I'm gonna handle things from here. And he's upset. He's like, no, I did this. I need to help. It's my responsibility. I thought I had done this great thing. I was trying to help everyone. I made a mess of it, and now it's my fault. And I wanted people to see me. I wanted to matter. Let me have this. Like, let me be a part of it.
Man, I guess he played the right heartstrings, because she's like, all right, fine.
Yeah, they both apologize to each other for being dumb teenagers, basically.
Right. I do like how she makes the joke, if there's a killer Easter bunny next year, I'm leaving you on your own.
Yeah. And then she uses some of her nitroglycerin cookies to explode the handcuffs and set Max free. Somehow manages to nail the amount so that it doesn't blow his hand off or anything.
Right.
And they start to sneak into the house, where they see Santa carrying Michaela wrapped up in paper over his shoulder, and they kind of duck behind a chair or something to kind of watch him.
He does the Jason special where he just flops her on the floor.
Yeah. And then they see Austin coming down a hallway, and he's making this, they know Santa's right there, so they can't talk. Mm-hmm. And he's wildly gesturing, and it basically seems like he's I'm gonna fight Santa, and they're like, no, right. Do not fight Santa. We've got a plan. Stay where you are. Be quiet. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna fight Santa. Right. But before he can, Edgar pops up behind him and knocks him down.
Pulls him down.
Yeah.
And then Edgar's like, I'm gonna go after Santa, but he does it all silently. and then Max tackles him.
Yeah. So like that whole bit is super funny because they're all being like it's dead silent and like really mad and stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of mime work and it really works. Yeah. But then meanwhile I think finally we get the 4 surviving sort of final people at this point, and they do kind of go
away and Santa walks past them.
Yeah, so now they're like kind of whispering to each other about what's going on, and they're like, they're getting ready to like, do the final battle, and it starts out with Max, who has found a little puppet of Mrs. Claus, and he's like behind like the kitchen counter, talking in like this silly cartoon voice, distracting Santa, who like starts
that way somehow Austin can get away or get around Santa.
Yeah, Austin creeps by, and then like Santa gets close to the Mrs. Claus puppet and grabs her, and sees that she's not real, and then Max rolls a ball that
it's
goes over. Yeah, it's got a bell, and it rolls to a little table that's got cookies and milk. The perfect Santa trap.
Exactly. Yep. So we know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's really bad that Austin has a lot of internalized homophobia because apparently he just can't let this go. He's like, no, I'm going to fight Santa.
Yeah. So before Santa can eat the explosive cookies that would have saved the day and ended the movie, Austin tackles him, completely fucks everything up, and Santa's now in like rage mode, throwing kids around the room. Everybody's trying to tackle him, and he's just tossing them off like it's nothing. And then I think finally all 3 kind of like gang up together, or all 3 of the kids, and they get him sort of like tied up a little bit with Christmas lights.
Yeah, Max is like, I'm going to put a cookie in his face.
Yeah, they're trying to like shove them in his mouth.
But man, that clock's getting awful close to midnight there, Anthony.
Mm-hmm. And Paige is like, all we got to do, if we just give him the cookies, it's fine. And Max is like, give me one last chance. I can calm him down. And so Max starts, trying to talk to him and everything. And it looks like it's working. Santa suddenly is like, I remember. But then it strikes midnight, and all of a sudden all this blue Christmas magic or electricity or something passes
powers
through.
Up
Yeah. He like Super Santa mode.
Yeah. Luckily, Edgar's smart enough to just be like, fuck this, I'm throwing an axe into this guy. Yeah. The problem is that because he's full of electricity, that tends to bite back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, instantly, like, Santa just, like, goes berserk. He just starts, like, beating the shit out of Edgar, pulls the axe, starts chasing after Max, but then Paige, like, dives in front and gets hit with the axe instead.
Right.
So
she takes the hit from Max. But Austin gets the shit beat out of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably beat to death at this point.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And then Santa is trying to pull the axe out of Paige so that
he can take another swing at Max.
Yeah. But so then Max rushes outside, and he's like,
he says, Santastein, come get me! Hey, title drop, 1 hour and 20 minutes in.
Yeah. So Santa does follow after him. They manage to get to, or Max lures him to the lab. Where he instantly like manages to like wrap a bunch of chains around Santa. So now like he's trying to like swing the axe, but it's like tangled up in the chains.
And he almost gets Max, and he like hits the wall behind Max. He overcommits a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And then stuck. We get a nice little like this feels more Santa and more slasher than Frankenstein. But we get this moment right here that's like straight out of all of our classic Frankensteins. Santastein looks over and sees a mirror and sees his reflection and learns that he is a monster, sees that he's not the Santa that he once was. And it kind of gives him pause. Like he freezes for a minute While that happens, Max flips the switch. He yells, "I'm sorry," as all this electricity blasts into Santa Claus, and he explodes.
Well, yeah, Max tries to do a runner, and then, Santa Claus explodes into a bad After Effects, effect.
Yeah, and as Max runs out, he runs into Paige and kind of like tackles her, saving her from the blast. They just happen to land under mistletoe because Christmas movie. And they're kind of like laying there panting as like the fire, and they both kind of look up and see the mistletoe and just like crack up. Like it's a really cute moment.
They wish each other Merry Christmas.
Like Max is like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "No." "Are you?" And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely not." But yeah, they wish each other Merry Christmas. They help each other up, and they start hobbling off down the street.
Abrupt ending?
Yeah, so they're like, as they're walking, there's like little bits of like yellow floating, like, and I was like, I don't know if that's like sparks from the fire, or if it's supposed to be like the magic of Santa, now that he's exploded, is dissipating into the world, and now Christmas can return. Because it felt like this movie was going to end with them saving Christmas somehow, and presumably if Santa is killed again, then we're back to square one, and there's no Christmas again, unless that's what. It's vague enough that you could decide that it is the magic of Christmas, filling the world, or it's just like you said, abrupt ending. They blew up the house and walked away, like so many Universal movies end.
Right. I was literally expecting like Mrs. Claus to just show up and be like, Santa, and just turn him back to normal, and then undo everything he did.
Yeah, like that was the one thing. Like I watched a little bit of this and then got interrupted. I had to do something, and when I was talking to someone about it, and I was like, I don't know how it ends, but I have a pretty good idea how it ends. And like you said, I really expected something was going to happen at the end that was going to just be a miracle and fix Christmas.
Nope.
Which not in this case. It's still fun. Like, it's very lighthearted. Like, it's not a grim ending, but it's not quite like, Christmas is saved. Like, I learned something today. It's not one of those kind of movies either.
Nobody learned shit. A bunch of people died.
Yeah. And then we also get kind of just like as a nice little sort of end, the end credits. It's a Yule log thing. Like, you just have like a fire crackling and a rocking chair that's empty.
I got so mad, Anthony, when I was watching this. Like, okay, because I was watching this, and it's not the Yule log that pissed me off. No, I noticed. I was like, there's something weird about that fire. They literally looped the footage where they would play forward, and then they hit a point, and it would start playing backwards to keep the rocking chair rocking. And I'm like, motherfucker! Damn it.
Yeah, because the fire was doing a weird thing. But yeah, I watched the whole thing just in case something was going to happen at the very end, and no, it doesn't. It's just a rocking chair continually rocking for the whole, 3 or 4 minutes of credits. Right.
And the fire reversing and going forward and reversing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's Santastein, and like we talked last week that like the Munsters Christmas was new to us and gonna hit our rotation. This is definitely gonna be one that I revisit. Like, it was so fun.
I think this will. I'll put on Gremlins and then go into this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had a blast with this one, and it's exactly what I've been like wanting. Christmas horror movies are so much fun. Like, I watch a lot every year. We did a whole Patreon episode about it a while back, or I guess last Christmas. It's just
Christmas.
It's just a fun way to kind of like mix. Like, I do love Christmas. There's a lot of like Halloween horror people that are like, I hate Christmas, but no, I love it. But I still also love horror, so I love when it's mixed together. And obviously, Frankenstein.
But seriously, that used to be like the thing, right? During winter, you would still tell ghost stories around Christmas time because everything was dead, and it was just, it was the thing to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, from like Charles Dickens or whatever, like it's a big part of Christmas. And exactly. I know there was like, I've never seen any of them, and I've heard they're really, really good. The BBC used to do a ghost story special every year. It would be like a whole movie, but they like only aired on the BBC. I think you can find the DVDs, but they're like really hard to track down. And I think there's like 10 or 15 of them. They did it for a long time, and they're supposed to all be incredible ghost stories that are spooky and Christmassy and just really fun. Maybe this is the year I'll track a couple of them down, because it just, like you said, there's something about like the way everything's dead and everything's quiet and calm that like it just makes you want to kind of like kind of revel in like a little bit of morbidity, but like in a a hopeful
playful way.
Yeah. Like we're gonna get past the winter and go back into spring, and there's all of that. It's the cycle of living and everything. And that's I don't know. All of that is part of what makes Christmas fun for me. Like, definitely going to be revisiting this regularly.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, there's some points where it's like, okay, that's a little cheap, but the story was solid, the acting was good. I mean, so what if they didn't have a lot of money? Mm-hmm. That's probably the only thing holding them back, is that they didn't get a huge producer or a huge film company backing them. Everything else was solid.
Yeah. Like if you're expecting like Krampus, it doesn't,
no, it
doesn't have that kind of budget. Like nope. But it's got a lot of heart. It's a lot of fun. It's very charming. I
honestly wouldn't be surprised though if like 5 years we get a remake where they actually do put the budget behind this thing. Yeah,
I mean, I would love that. I mean, especially it feels like, I mean, this year there's been so many Frankenstein movies, and this was a nice one to kind of to end the year on, and we know we've got a couple others coming up soon, so maybe Frankenstein's getting, Dracula or vampires in general had their moment for a while, but
now it's Frankenstein turn.
Yeah,
we get sexy Frankensteins.
Yeah, they'll keep us in business a while longer.
I'm gonna look that up. Has anyone done that yet? Like, is there a Twilight version, a Frankenstein version of that?
I don't know. I mean, there was that zombie one, the like warm bodies, but I don't know if there's been like
but that's a zombie. That's different.
Yeah, it is different. But yeah, God, that would be. I mean, I guess that.
Well,
that
I know what I'm writing.
That Lisa Frankenstein, I don't really know how that's going to play out, but I mean, it definitely could be that. The one that's coming out that like Diablo Cody wrote, that's coming out next year. We'll definitely be watching and talking about that when it comes up, but it'd be fun if that ended up being what it was. Like if it's just straight up a teen romance, I'd be so in for that. I'm not above that.
Yeah, fair enough. So I mean, obviously we're gushing about this movie. It's good stuff. Check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's on Screenbox. I don't know. I'm sure they probably have some kind of trial thing if you're not already subscribed. But if you're subscribed, it's there. It's out now. You should definitely check it out because it's a lot of fun, and it's a great way. As Christmas gets close, it's a great way to watch a fun movie and celebrate Christmas or the winter holiday of your choosing.
Exactly. All right, Anthony. So, are we going to do the lead-in for this one, or are we going to do the other one? Because I guess the other one's about to come out.
So, like we promised we were going to do Carry On Screaming after Scream and Scream Again, and we've taken like a two movie Christmas break in between, and then we'll go back to Carry On Screaming.
Okay. All right. Where can they find us, Anthony?
So you can find us on all the socials at The Frankencast. You can email us at thefrankencast@gmail.com. You can find us over on YouTube, and you can find us at patreon.com/thefrankencast. We're still doing the free trials. There's tons and tons of stuff over there. If you're bored over your holiday break, you can join for free and binge through all kinds of stuff, and then decide if you want to stick around.
Absolutely. I think you'll find one or two things that are at least gold,
I think so. I think we have a lot of fun over there.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, well, anything else to say?
I think that's it.
And to be continued, and to be continued. To be continued next year.
Looks like you survived another episode. The Frankencast is a production of FCR Media. It's hosted by Anthony Bowman and Eric Velasquez. Follow us on Twitter at The Frankencast, or send us a letter at thefrankencast@gmail.com. Our cover art is by Amanda Keller. You can find her at Keller Illustrations on Instagram. Our theme music is by Vivek Abhishek. Thanks for listening.